Welcome back to a brand new episode of Buckets and Besties, your go-to podcast for all things WNBA. And I'm one of your bestie co-hosts, Katia.
And I'm Megan. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow us on all social media channels. We are coming to you live right before the big block of weekend games, and we have a monster of an episode today.
We really do, Megan. And today, as always, we have our breakout signature kickoff, which is our bestie breakdown, covering 5 of the absolute biggest stories happening in the W. And we have a fresh bestie buzzer prediction. And of course, as always, our full scouting report previewing the weekend games ahead.
Now let's tip it off with the 5 biggest stories of the past week.
Story number 1 is record-breaking performances. Now, Megan and I have talked a lot about Kelsey Mitchell in the last week, but we have to talk about how she's creating history right before our eyes, and we've seen that she's been dominating the Fever for the entire season. She just extended her single-season record to 17 straight 20-point performances.
Yeah, now this woman definitely deserves her flowers. Now, if you didn't see our posts on social media, we are a Kelsey Mitchell stan podcast. So we talk all things Kelsey Mitchell and love her. But yeah, can we talk about just the unprecedented efficiency she's had over the last 2 games, shooting almost 70% from the field? On August 11th against the Liberty, she dropped 28 points, shooting 11 of 16 from the field, 4 of 6 from deep. And then again, August 8th, the game prior, she shot 8 of 12, putting up 27 points. Can we firmly say she might be in the MVP conversation now? Or do we can she dethrone A'ja Wilson and Olivia Miles?
Oh, totally. I think, Kelsey's putting herself in that light, and she's showing that she's a team leader. And I would contend her now as MVP against A'ja, and I'll move Olivia out for rookie of the year and make Kelsey MVP contender. And speaking of historical shooting nights, we watched Kayla McBride go crazy on the wings the other day. She set a brand new record in the WNBA with single game record of 10 3-pointers, finishing with a career high of 43 points in Minnesota's win. She went 16 for 21 from the floor overall, and she's only the 10th player in the league history to score 43 points or more on 21 or fewer shots, and she was just absolutely crazy. And I don't think we've seen a performance like that this season, other than Marina scoring like 53. So it's insane, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, talk about efficiency again, like just pure electric execution. I watched the game live, and she could not be stopped. Like she was making threes falling into the bench. She was making threes like off balance. So we've seen, like you said, Marina do it in her 53-point performance. She had 9 threes. I believe Kelsey had 9 threes this season. So she finally dethroned all of them to make it to the top with 10 3-pointers. But again, efficiency, I'm not good with math, but that looks like she's close to 75-80% from the field to shoot 43 points on 21 or fewer shots. That's literally insane.
Yeah. I love Kayla McBride. I think she's she's a under talked about player, and we should talk about her game more.
Yeah, I think again she gets she's in the background more a lot because you have those big names now. You have big names like Fee and Courtney Williams, and now Olivia's getting a lot of the spotlight. But she's another vet that just continually gets better year after year.
Yeah.
I would say she's probably having one of her best years, along with Kelsey Mitchell. And Kelsey Mitchell's, I believe, in her 10th year, and then Kayla McBride is, I believe, 34, 36. So she's in her 12th year, and I just love when age isn't necessarily a number, and it's they just put up huge numbers. So love her. And it's, again, like we talked about last week, I said in that one clip that if you don't stop Fee, then you have to stop Olivia, then you have to stop Courtney. Now you can't forget Kayla, who just puts up 43 points in a big win the other day.
Yeah, and she was named Western Conference Player of the Week, so that's exciting.
All right, we're gonna move out west now. Golden State just rolled to its 5th straight win. Again, we talk about underdogs or just teams coasting under the radar, or even players under the radar. I feel like Golden State is another one of those teams, but they just secured their 5th straight victory and now have won 8 of their last 10. They are comfortably sitting in second overall, actually above the Aces. Katia, are they now an immediate favorite to make the NBA Finals, or the next team to secure, I guess, a playoff spot? I'd say.
I can see the Valks, getting into the playoffs. Underrepresented player as well, Caitlin Chen. If they run into a team like Minnesota in a 7 game series, I think it is a tactical matchup and it's going to be really tight. I think what they can do with Minnesota is try to slow them down. I think they're better. I think they might be better on defense against Minnesota. But scoring wise, that might be their issue. So they have a real chance of getting there, and I can't wait to see like what happens and who's their matchup to make it to the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think they look incredibly dangerous. They have great bench depth. Like anyone on the bench can come in and score 10 or more points, or even multiple players off the bench. Yeah, I just see an issue being scoring. I don't see like a breakout star. I mean, you had Gabby Williams a little bit, but I don't
Hmm.
see a consistent player on the Valks scoring 20 overnight. They definitely take turns, it seems like the
Hmm.
other night. And I'll touch upon this in the sixth player of the week, but you had Tiffany Hayes go for 22. But like, I don't think you have that consistency of a duo going for 20 plus like you have on the Fever or even the Lynx. Like there's no, like I don't think they have that duo, if I'm thinking correctly, who can drop 50 or 60 combined in a game, you know.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. But we'll just keep looking.
Mm-hmm.
Um, all right. Story number 3. The Mystics win streak snapped. Womp womp. I'm playing my
Yeah.
little violin. I'm very sad. All right. Now, all good things must come to an end. The Washington Mystics had a blazing 7 game winning streak going, but the Aces finally put a stop to it on Tuesday, August 11th, with an 86-76 win.
Now, I was thoroughly impressed with this streak. They picked up massive wins against Golden State, Vegas, Connecticut, Dallas twice, Atlanta, and Phoenix. And I think again, you talk about like an underdog story. This our whole pod, like we tweak on our podcast, we talk about almost like an underdog each week. And I'd say I think still a sleeper, even though they've like stumbled a few times this week, and we'll touch upon that. But that win streak launched them to fifth in the playoff standings. They were above Dallas. They went
Mhm.
above the Fever at one point. Right now, with their win loss the other night against Vegas, they're now in sixth. But I think
Mhm.
if they get hot in the playoffs, I think they could make a run potentially and win a few series. They're young and I think they're driven and motivated, and I think they're overlooked a lot, and that's like the extra motivation they need to like catapult to the later stages of the playoffs.
Yeah, in the game they just played against the Aces last night, they really held their feet to the fire. They were going neck and neck the entire game. I think what happened was fatigue in the fourth. And like other than that, I you got to tire the Aces. Other than that, they would have had to tire the Aces out, and that's essentially what happened to them. Because they have stars on their team. I mean, Shakira, Sonia, Kiki Iriafen. I mean, Lauren Betts. They all work very, very well together. Um, but I want to see more out of them on the offense.
Yeah, I agree. I think they need a little more consistency on the defensive end. And I think what happens when they lack a veteran presence, like they have Shakira Austin, but I think actually what I think will help them is they just signed Benijah Laney Hamilton, who is a veteran president from the Liberty. She wasn't seeing a lot of playing time this year with the Liberty. Unfortunately, last year was injury prone, but I think her presence might help with them with like moving further into the playoffs and securing that eighth and final playoff spot, if not higher in the standings when the end of the season comes.
Hmm. No, definitely.
On to story number 4 is about our girl Paige Becker. She had a second half masterclass against the Toronto Tempo. In the first half, she went scoreless, but Paige came together in the second half to explode for 22 points, finishing the night with 22 total, 8 assists, 3 rebounds, and three steals. So overall, like an amazing game from her, well-rounded.
Yeah, and like you said, our girl Paige Beckers, I think Paige is getting more comfortable in her own after losing a lot with like they've been winning a lot. Dallas has been winning a lot this season, but they also had some critical losses that they could have won, and they just sometimes just fall apart in the end for whatever reason. So that was great to see like Paige kind of step up in that scenario. Dallas has dropped 5 of their 6 5 of their 6 last games, sliding down to 8th in standing, which is not what I think we thought in the beginning. Plus,
Mm-hmm.
they're battling injury. Right now, Jessica Shepard is out with an ankle injury. Also, AZ Fudd missed the last game, last 3 games with knee soreness. So it just shows how crucial they are to the team as well. And I think it's more than just the injury. It's how do you perform after that and how do you switch people's roles and positions to take on something else. And maybe they're trying to figure that out because we know they're a stacked team, we know they're deep, but when things aren't, I guess when the ducks aren't in a row and they're kind of in a zigzag, like how do you, you know, change what you've always known? How do you change what you've practiced to do kind of thing? So um I'm
Yeah.
surprised with Dallas in that instance, but just Paige coming off like a great night, I'm like she was really feeling it and she was on fire.
Yeah, I agree with that analysis. I think AZ, there's so much talk surrounding her, like her lack of offense. Oh, and then her offense explodes, and then it's just so much. There's so much talk this year, but I think she's underrated in a defense, and so then I think they're missing her key component there, and then Jess goes out. I think it was 5 minutes into the Lynx game on last Sunday when I was watching, or this past Sunday when I was watching. So then that was a huge piece they're losing. She can bring up the ball, that she can start the offense in a different way that Paige can. So they're hurting literally, and hopefully them getting back those key pieces will help them move up in the standings because they're not, in my opinion, they're not an eighth place team.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking forward to seeing them kind of get it together over the next couple of weeks. Katia, why don't you talk about the World Cup roster for our fifth story?
Woo. So we're gonna have another break in the WNBA season. So our story number 5 is the US World Cup roster has been revealed. Okay. The final big story is the official announcement for the USA World Cup roster heading into Berlin, Germany from September 4th to September 13th. And the squad is absolutely stacked per usual. We have Caitlin Clark, Paige, Paige Beckers, Angel Reese, Aaliyah Boston, Asia Wilson, Brianna Stewart, Nafisa Collier, Chelsea Gray, Kelsey Plum, Jackie Young, Kalia Copper, and Ryan Howard. Any immediate people that jumped out to you, whether it's a snub or people that you really wanted to see on this World Cup team?
Ooh, I don't know, like snub. I don't know if it was like a snub. I just think it's such a loaded like talent base that the WNBA has now. So it's like so hard. Like the depth is there. There's 12 spots, very hard to choose. The only name that stands out, I know it's always controversial. I don't quite think that Caitlin deserved it, but I don't know. Like I can only think of like maybe replacing her with Kelsey Mitchell. That's having more of a breakout year.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, I think they had a couple camps, if I remember correctly. They had like a couple training camps. They were in Puerto Rico, and this is similar to the team that they brought to Puerto Rico, maybe with the exception of Nafisa coming back.
Yeah.
And then who would have dropped off? Like a few people dropped off. So, I mean, all health aside, I guess this is like looks to be the strongest roster to me.
All that to say, some of the team members that, choose the people on the roster are like Kara Larson, Sue Bird, and Kara also she came out and said, it's a tough pool to just pick 12 people from. There's so many talented people in the W. And also they want to consider people that don't want to play in the World Cup. Um, because of like there could be injuries, there could be they need time off. It's very tight within the season. So, we don't have a Sabrina Ionescu in this roster. So, that's I guess that's something also to think about because the schedules have been really, really tight this season. So I guess some people just don't want to play at all.
Yeah, I mean that could be part of it too. We don't know what goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Serena missed the 12 games with the Liberty in the beginning of the season, and I think she kind of got off to a slower start than usual. I've seen her come alive, like definitely the last probably 10 games. She's scoring close to 15, 20 each game.
Mhm.
So I think that could have been part of leaving her off, like her trying to stay healthy for the rest of the WNBA season as well. She was on the gold medal team from a few years ago. So so people think that is a
Mhm.
snubbing Serena. Now, my biggest question is Kelsey Plum is on that roster. I believe she's been again sat out the last couple of games. So who would you replace Kelsey Plum with?
Is this controversial? Can I say Kennedy Carter?
Oh gosh, no.
Um, I'm trying to think of like, okay, who has handles like Kelsey, who's fast like her, who's jerky like her. Um, Other than Kelsey Mitchell, I'm like put Kennedy Carter in there just for the World Cup. I don't know. Damn,
Yeah,
that's
that's
kind of tough.
controversial, and I'm not going with Carter, but I think of Kelsey too, or I think Sonia Citron is like a great point guard, like a true point
Hmm.
guard.
Yeah.
And she has gets like an easy 20, it seems like every night with the Mystics. I think she was at one of the training camps as well. So I'm trying to think back to who they had at those training camps and who was in Puerto Rico. I could see Kelsey potentially not playing. Seems like she's having dealing with the same issue that is injury that was keeping her out with the Sparks.
Hmm.
So we'll see. We'll see how it works out with the roster. But I am excited to see France versus the US for sure. That's going to be a battle.
Yeah.
So we'll look at that when the time comes for sure.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one. And I've just noticed how women's basketball is growing around the world. Like people are getting better because they're starting to see like their competition get better as well. So that's going to be very tough. And we have to watch our girl Marine go against some of our favorites.
Marine Johannes and
Yeah.
then Gabby Williams with France. So
Hmm.
yeah, the talent pool is just in international talent pool is rising and it's just getting better and better. And you see that now this year with the CBA expanding and all that talent now coming over to WNBA to play. So I just wanted to highlight just one more quick bonus story before we pivot to our sixth player of the week. Women's sports viewership is absolutely skyrocketing, so we
Ooh,
can't deny that anymore. This note just came out this week. U.S. women's sports viewing reached a staggering 28.6
crazy.
billion with a B minutes in the first half of 2026. That is an 18% increase from last year. And then just to note, the WNBA has generated 3.8 million minutes of that action. I believe it was billion though, but they are generating a majority of that viewership. So that's just amazing to see as women's sports viewership continues grows, and that's only because we're starting to put it on TV more. So if it's not on
Mm-hmm.
TV, we can't watch it, and that's just my point on that. But yeah,
Yeah.
Katia, let's take it to the sixth player of the week.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. And I love that everything is expanding. Women, go women.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now let's hand out our sixth player of the week. This segment is where we choose someone that has been super electric during the week, has played an awesome game, and we just want to highlight who they are. So my pick for the week is Shakira Austin from the Washington Mystics. She was named the WNBA Eastern Conference Player of the Week between August 3rd and the 9th. Um, After the latest the Las Vegas game versus the Mystics, not yesterday, but previously, Shakira recorded 15 points, 5 rebounds in 12 consecutive games, and she's tied the longest single season streak in the Mystics franchise. And what I love about Shakira's game so much is that she reminds me a little bit of Rickea Jackson. Like they just have this tough play in the they have this tough play in the post in the paint. And I love seeing that Shakira is one of those young players that can go up against Asia Wilson. I don't think you see that too often. The bigs that really go up against Asia are like maybe BG, Angel Reese, she tries, Shakira
Mm-hmm.
Austin. So you don't really see that happening. Which is really refreshing. People try to just like stay away from her. But yeah, Shakira has been having a wonderful season, and I think she's leading the Mystics in such a great way with this new team that's in there. Also, we talked about this a little bit before, but I got introduced to Shakira's game during Unrivaled, and I think she fit that format perfectly because she is a all around like defensive player, but she can also score. Um, so yeah, like shout out to Shakira. She's just been like doing her thing. And fun fact, I just learned this about her. She was always like a foodie and food traveler person. And when she was at Ole Miss, she had a segment, or a little show called Kira's Kitchen, which I thought was really cool because we don't really hear too much about her. She doesn't post that much on social media, TikTok or anything. So her game just speaks for itself.
Yeah, she's like more that veteran presence for the Mystics. And I think she's quiet and goes about her business, like similar to like Kelsey Mitchell stays out of news. And I totally love that segment called Kira's Kitchen. That's really cute. I love a little alliteration. But my sixth player shout out goes to veteran Tiffany Hayes. She dropped a vintage 22 points in just 20 minutes against Chicago on Wednesday night. Remember, she retired. I don't know if you knew this, Katia, in December 2023, came back in May 2024 to sign with the Aces, won the sixth player of the year, spent the last 2 seasons with Valkyries, and now here she is at 36, dropping 20 points off the or 22 points off the bench in less than that amount of time. So that's pretty amazing. I just I loved following her story when she came back with the Aces. I'll be honest, I like didn't follow her as much.
Mm-hmm.
But again, she came back and was electric, like she never left. And now I think she's a little bit getting her flowers and whatnot at the Valkyries. Definitely a well-liked player and a fan favorite for sure.
Yeah. I had no idea that she retired and came back.
Mhm.
I wish Maya Moore retired and came back, you know?
Yeah, I always held out hope for that because it was she retired at the height of her career, no injuries or anything that didn't put her out, but she, personal reasons, and now she, that's her life now, which we love that for her.
Now, moving on to our next segment, Bestie Buzzer. If you remember, this is our segment where we pick one prediction for the upcoming slate, and we'll be keeping score all season long, and the winner just gets bragging rights. So, Megan, the challenge for this week is pick a player off the bench that will score 15 points in the upcoming games. Who are you locking in?
Ooh, ooh, the upcoming games. Ooh, I feel like you can pick anyone from the Valkyries bench to do this. Tiffany Hayes just said that was my sixth player of the week. Oh man. But off the top of my head, I must be trying to think if I should go. Let me look at the scouting report real quick. On these games, off the bench, 15 or more. If she's coming off the bench, I'm gonna pick Odyssey Sims from the Wings.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, that's
I
a
could
good
see
one.
her going on a run. My backup, I think she might be hurt, is Zaza. So I
Mm.
think if she's not her, I saw like people were like commenting like hope her ankle's okay. So either of those two, I'll go with. Well, I guess I'll just go with Odyssey Sims. I'll go with my intuition, my
Mm.
gut.
Let's say off the bench for Atlanta. Atlanta bench. Let's see. Um, oh, I forgot. Okay. So I don't know why we haven't seen Pow Pow play a lot. But I'd go Pow Pow or Medina Oka. I loved watching them play for South Carolina. So if they get playing time, I can see them going crazy. Um, and another team, let's go Aces. Bring out our girl Justine Passat. Give her some time. Give her some
Yeah,
minutes on the court because she can score.
give her a chance.
Give
Give
her
her
a
a
chance,
chance.
please.
I'm gonna go one more too, but I'm gonna pick Cotty McMahon
Ooh,
from the Mystics. I believe she's on the bench, but she had 20, I think, against the Wings. So I guess I'm going Odyssey Sims or Cotty McMahon.
ooh.
Yeah.
Cody's a good one. I
Cody,
know
sorry.
people judge her by her play, but I think it makes it funny. Sometimes it's like, oh my God, this is not WWE SmackDown. But um
Yeah, she's definitely physical.
she's fun to
But
watch.
YOLO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. That was fun. All right, so tune in next week. Who do you guys have for your Bestie Buzzer winner of the week? Tune in next week to find out who beat the stats.
Our next segment is the scouting report, where we preview the games coming up on the next few days. Let's map out the next week's matchups. On Friday night, we have the Wings versus the Fever, Fire versus Storm. Saturday, Liberty versus Sun, Sparks versus the Mystics, Lynx against the Aces. And then Sunday, rounding out the weekend, we have the Sky versus Storm, Fever at the Dream, and the Fire versus the Mercury. Now, looking up at this lineup, Katia, what matchup are you looking forward to the most?
I'm looking forward to. I'm really looking forward to watching Sparks versus Mystics because I've been meaning to watch more Mystics games. Wings versus the Fever. This is a week of rivalries, so love that.
Mm.
And Fever versus a Dream.
Yeah, I always love watching the Lynx versus the Aces. That's always a bitter rivalry. Obviously, we've seen in the past the Aces dethrone the Lynx a couple times. And then I'll say probably the Fever versus Dream. I feel like there's always a little bit of tension with them on the court between like Reese and Kaylin, or people make it that.
Hmm.
Um, but also, I think now with the World Cup break coming up in a couple weeks, my biggest question for you is who has like the biggest momentum going into the break? Like who basically I'm asking whose momentum will be killed by this break and who will benefit from the break, like the 2 week break coming back into the final weeks of the season.
Hmm. The Wings might have a tough time coming back, because Paige is playing. And
Mm.
then who might be electric? I want to go. I want to say the Sky because I know Azare was in training camp, but she's obviously not on the roster. So I want to say Team Sky. What do you think?
So I'm going opposite. So I actually think the Wings will benefit the most from the break, getting back like AZ and Jess. I know it's in a couple weeks, but I think they're only going to heal up more, get more rest. They only have Paige going, which then you see the opposite end of the spectrum. You have the Aces sending their big three there, Jackie, Chelsea, and Asia to go play. So I think biggest momentum right now, I do think the Valkyries have a lot. They just rolled to their fifth win.
Hmm.
I think that could, it's always like a game of runs, right? You saw that in the NBA finals with the Knicks going on all these crazy runs, but I think it might hurt the Valkyries a little bit, maybe the Aces, just because they seem to be in a good rhythm right now. So it's but then you look at it on the other end, like rest sometimes is great for teams. So it's only so we're gonna have to wait and see. I think of what teams come out of this break with with full cylinders blazing or whatever that term is, but you see already that the aces and the Lynx are already clinched, so
Hmm.
that it works in their favor as well. So they don't have to come back and necessarily play very hard in the last couple weeks of the season. So
Oh, can't wait for that.
I rambled on a little bit. Sorry about that, but time to step outside the paint. So this is our quick minute to check on the rest of the women's sports landscape, and this is where Katia and I pick a story most of the time outside of the WNBA, but doesn't necessarily have to be outside of the WNBA. But I know I try to highlight a little bit of what's going on in the rest of the landscape. So first off, I'm going to start off with Jenna Neiswanger. So those guys, to you guys that don't watch maybe soccer, she was on Gotham a few years ago. She was NWSL Rookie of the Year, and she was actually champion with Gotham when they won in 2023. She transferred over to the Arsenal in the Women's Premier League, and then really saw a little bit of like little playing time over the last couple years. So I know my one friend and I are like looking forward to her now returning to the NWSL. She's going to the Bay Area NWSL team. She's only 25, so I'm like, so the sky's the limit for her. So hopefully she gets back in the groove. She was actually on the Olympic gold winning team, so it's always rough when you see a player go to another team and like her playing time is cut. So hopefully
Hmm.
nothing's going on there. And then the last thing I wanted to highlight is totally out of the realm, but Katie Ledecky she's a swimmer,
Swimmer.
and she's known for she's known for her 1500-meter swimming event. So it's like a mile basically in the pool. And then I think it cut it out. Oh no, it didn't cut out here, but the headline I saw this week is she won again a race, and she hasn't lost this particular event since July of 2010. So, can we
Damn.
just talk about the dominance that Katie Ledecky and most people know her from the Olympics over the last several years? Like it's kind of a lot of like Michael Phelps with the guys and her with the women.
Hmm.
She has not lost in 16 years
That's
in this
crazy.
particular event. So she started winning at like 15, 16 years old. She's now in her 30s, but that's literally insane.
That is crazy. Go Katie.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so my outside the paint moment is that Phoenix is showing Diana Taurasi love as they should be. The city originally put up a street sign named after DT after she became the WNBA all-time leading scorer, but since then she's done so much more, and now They've updated it again for her Ring of Honor induction. She also there was also a new mural of DT revealed outside the arena, painted by the Phoenix-based artist Paige Resser. It features DT signature celebrations and some of her career trophies. I think it's a really cool way to honor what she means to like the Mercury, but Phoenix over the last 20 years. So shout out to DT. It's a very, very beautiful mural. It looks just like her. You know, when people reveal art, you're always like, is it gonna look horrible? But it's really beautiful. And I mean, DT deserves her flowers. She really paved the way for this league, alongside a lot of others. But you know, she is a very unique player, and I'm just glad to see that she's getting her flowers.
Yeah, talk about legendary status and definitely like a beautiful tribute to her. And I saw like on social media like yesterday that it's also like interactive the statue, and like
Mm-hmm.
fans can go up and I believe scan like QR codes and like find out more about the statue as well, and like on Diana's career. But yeah, I just think of her as one of those players that was unapologetic and spoke up for herself and like really transformed the league. And her documentary, if you haven't seen it, is really cool too. She kind of started out where like when she got drafted, they would put her in dresses and she was like, this is not my thing. And eventually she started having her own style and speaking up more. And she just has that attitude on the court that I love too. And,
Yeah.
she's one of the best to ever play for sure.
Yeah. So go DT.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it for today. That's a wrap for this episode of Buckets and Besties.
Yes, that's a wrap on today's episode. I don't know if it was our best one, but you don't always have your best performances every week. But make sure to hit that subscribe button, leave us a review, and drop your bestie buzzer picks in the comments. We're also very appreciative of all the support already.
See you courtside, besties.
Yeah, see you courtside. Bye.